Heyo, welcome to my channel. I'm Alyssa Grace and I love to travel and paint. Let's go. In today's episode, we went to Rockledge Park to paint, which is in Grapevine, Texas. And so there was lots of water and lots of rocks. Rock ledges at Rockledge Park. So it had just rained this day, and so it was really cloudy and moody, and honestly, that's made it 1,000 times better to paint at. And it was, sadly, colder than I would have liked, but I had a handy hand pocket heater to keep me safe and warm. Anyways, I'm really excited to get into this video. Waves. This is a different scene than I've done before for sure. Water, active water, more like water that is not still. That was very different, but really fun actually, very exciting, fresh, new. So I'm picking up my panels and deciding which one I want to use. I have two different sizes, 8 by 10 and 9 by 12, I think. Anyways, so I picked the 9 by 12, if I'm right about that. So I'm just getting set up here with my oil in plein air setup. So in this episode, I'm out at Rockledge Park in Grapevine, Texas, and it just rained today, so I think it's really pretty. Lots more contrast. The colors are darker and that's pretty. Anyways, so I picked a rock ledge from Rockledge Park to paint with this very bright water lake with a little horizon and the sky. And so I'm really excited to paint here today. I have my oil set up, so round 2 of trying oil in plein air, and I'm just excited to get going. So honestly, I was super excited about this. So I decided to start off with this scene, a thumbnail sketch in my little sketchbook, because it looked so different every time I looked at the scene through my view catcher, so I decided to really set in place what I wanted to do, just kind of get my composition right. So I just kind of drew something that looked right to me and started going for it. So I'm toning my panel again with some burnt sienna, and I'm using a paper towel to kind of just smudge it on there. I thought that made an easier surface to work on rather than just using the paintbrush. As usual, I'm going to just sketch out my scene here with a darker shade of burnt sienna and liquid, and just continuing to build up this scene I have with this burnt sienna. I wanted to try to get my sketch exactly like my thumbnail because I was really trying to get my composition just right. So I'm just laying down the horizon line. Honestly, I thought it looked pretty like this, the burnt sienna on the lighter burnt sienna background. I don't know, I thought it might be fun to do a monochromatic painting like that someday. I don't know, just a thought. We'll see if I actually do that. So I'm going in with some green blue here for the water, the lake. I just wanted to put down some color for that first to start, just get my tonal idea on the panel. And there wasn't much purple in the sky actually, but I really thought it was a nice addition to this painting and just kind of gave the idea of a cloudy sky, which it was very cloudy, so it wasn't exactly true to what I was seeing, but I thought it was pretty. So I'm going in with a reddish brown hue paint, tone, something, and I'm putting it in for the dirt and then bringing it up into the rocks. My dad was out painting with me again today, and he decided to do the rocks opposite the ones I was doing. And he has this sketchbook that has a open spread page, so he was doing a 2-page spread, which I thought was really fun. There's me painting in the background. And he was painting these rocks and he was using gouache, and he has a really unique style and it's really beautiful, so I really liked what he did. So I was going in with some layers of a darker color. I kind of started off with a base idea just to help myself, like, I don't know, kind of like a color sketch, and then I was going in with some like darks and lights. So last time I painted with oil, I had a pretty hard time mixing a dark color, but this time I got something pretty dark and I was pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with using the word pretty. The sky was really pretty, so I just got this gray blue going in around my rocks here, making sure not to touch the rocks, but not leave any blank space either, because who wants some blank space in their painting? Not me. And I have a slightly darker shade of this blue for the horizon. Another slightly darker shade just to make some ideas of like trees in front of those trees, like to add like dimension and layers to my distance, I guess, something like that. I really saw some pretty orange in this rocks, so I wanted to emphasize that, so I got like a bright orange to add into these rocks to really draw that out and exaggerate the concept I was seeing. There was so much like interest and things going on in those rocks. It was definitely a challenge to figure out how I was gonna make them simple and something you can understand. So I just did my best to draw out the best of it. There was a little sailboat that was sailing the lake. You can see it in the background. It was so cute and I really wanted to paint it, but I didn't end up painting it because I didn't notice it until it was right about there, right about to pass my view. But it was like, it added to the vibe of the whole lake and I really enjoyed it. So currently I am just adding some more dimension and layers and colors to this rock. I wasn't really settled on the whole concept of painting darks to lights, so throughout this painting I continue to add darks and lights throughout. I should probably learn a little bit more about that and how to do that. So I'm going in with a darker tone of this ground color for this like rock ground, I don't know, whatever this is, I'm adding it in and just trying to make it look layered and slopey a little bit and fit in nicely with the other colors I have. I thought these rocks were like the most fun thing ever. I really had fun adding these little rocks. And then I saw another little rock and thought, wow, I love that, I'm gonna add it. So I did. I finally mixed a darker color that I really did like, which was the darkest color I had been able to mix so far. So I had to go in and add it everywhere I needed a dark color. And so I did, and it really added a lot, I think, to the contrast of the painting and just made the highlights look brighter because there was something darker in the painting to relate it to. My dad painted the sailboat, actually, which was so cool. He somehow, I don't know how he did that, painted the whole sailboat before it passed. Maybe he noticed it before I did. So I'm going in with a more saturated color for the water, and I'm adding like a gray blue to deepen the color of the lake. Took me quite a while to mix the color I wanted, but I finally got it and just laid that down everywhere. At this point the light was starting to go down a little bit. It always happens to me. It always catches up to me. so I started to move a little bit quicker at this point. I was trying to understand how these waves worked, and I saw like a greener tone in the shadow of the waves, and so I tried to use that to paint the waves. But I think something that happened whenever I was doing this was all of my water turned a little bit more green as I was blending it out. So I might do something a little differently next time I paint waves, but I did really like the result of this. Then I just used that same green color to add little texture. Finally, for the waves, I did see lots of splashes, so I decided to add some white like foam water and add that to the tops of the waves to make it look like a crashing wave and add some light and interest into the waves, which I was really happy with this. I was pretty intimidated by the waves. It was a really fun experience for me to do something that got me out of my comfort zone and was challenging, but also fun to enjoy the process of it.
Oh, so dramatic. I love it so much. Way to go. Oh, look at the bright spot right there. Love these lights. How you did the water. Oh, there's movements everywhere.
Whoa, you did the boat!
I tried the boat.
I really wanted to, but I didn't have enough time.
Scary.
That's great. Oh my goodness, this is a great one, Dad. It was pretty challenging to put my panel into the wet panel carrier, but I did it. Overall, today was a really fun painting day. I was challenged, but I had the most fun time, and it was so relaxing, and I enjoyed it so much.